Hello and welcome to Junior Achievement's virtual speaker series. Today we're going to talk about the career pathway of technology, and our guest today is Maria Kinaman. Maria, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi Claire, thank you for having me. We're doing very well.
Excellent. It's our pleasure, and we're so excited to hear what you do. So perhaps you could start by telling us a little bit about what you do for your career.
Okay, that sounds great. So Claire, I work in the tech sector, and I specifically work in advertising for technology companies. So I work with large scale companies that need to do advertising, but don't really know how to do it within tech. And I help guide them into the best decisions and the best marketing decisions for them, making sure that they're taking the best advantage of what we have.
That's great, because I think sometimes when people hear the word tech as a career, they think about IT, and there are so many different elements within the technology industry. So perhaps you could tell us, what does a normal day look like for you?
That's a great point. I actually consider myself not IT friendly at all, but I am very adept to learning new things, which is really what technology is. So with that being said, I think that learning is at the cornerstone of what I do every single day. I wake up and I keep my day pretty routine so that I can get to the nitty gritty stuff. And the first thing I do is I look at my priorities and make a list of where I want to go and what I want to accomplish that day. I do that before I check emails, before I take phone calls, before anything. And then my next step is to reaching out to my clients, asking how they're doing, seeing what's new. I stay very present on keeping up with them without having to talk to them, seeing what's happening, what's going on in the press, what's going on in the trade pubs, and then reaching out to them as a support. I want to make sure that if they're going through a crisis mode, as so many companies are right now, that I'm there and that I understand what's happening. And then we go through together and we work out where they need to move, or I make recommendations on what they need to do, and we find the best way to do that. And it's really important that the first thing I do is listen. I listen to them. What is it you need to do? And I work more as an advisor than anything else. With that, after that, I spend a lot of time learning. I learn what the best platforms and the best tools that I have available are for them, because I want to make sure that I'm giving them the most relevant information. And I learn what they need to have done. So I make learning key in my day. It's built into what I need to do to be successful. And luckily, it's something I really do enjoy doing.
So when you say you advise your clients, is that more on promotions, on advertisements, on press releases? Is that the type of thing you're talking about?
It's a little more technical than that, so I guess I am more IT-like than I thought. It's more of how to run the best campaign for their budgets. So if a client tells me, for example, I have a goal of I have a client who's a school, and their goal is to get high schoolers to look at them for the very first time, they have to reach out to a target that they don't typically talk to, a target audience, which would be the 17 to 19-year-olds. And so it's how to talk to them. What is it that they're consuming? Are 17 to 19-year-olds watching, Fox News? No. So how could we reach out to them in a space that's relevant, that catches their attention, that makes them feel connected? So it's more of advising of where they should be spending their advertising dollars.
Okay, and how did you get into this career? What made you choose this career pathway?
So I always loved business, and when I was in high school, I knew it was something I wanted to move forward to. Because I enjoy learning, college was really just the next logical step for me, but I didn't know what to study in college. So I just started. I figured just take the first step, and I went in and I had business as my undeclared major. So I was going to go into that path. I started taking all different types of classes. I really liked the arts, and I really liked sociology, which is the study of people in groups and how they act differently in groups. And when I started taking advertising classes, it all just clicked. It was a little bit of art, it was a little bit of science, it was a little bit of sociology, and I mixed it together and I said, this is what I want to do. What was interesting is that I also in my mind had a lot of things I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a realtor. I thought I wanted to be an interior designer. I thought I wanted to do public relations. And luckily I interned for all of those different companies and realized that none of them just fit right. And so, I worked for free, but really it paid off because it saved me years of being in a career that just wouldn't be a right fit. So when I decided that advertising was felt right, I started working or interning in advertising, and I loved it. And so as soon as I graduated, I applied for jobs and started working in that field. And it wasn't until I was in advertising that tech started to blow up. And so it was new. No one really understood it. It was called the .com boom. And I started to pay attention to it, and it was scary, but I made the first leap into it. And it really was, I felt at that point that I had understood advertising, and now I have to learn a whole new industry, which is the digital world.
Right. And you mentioned internships, and there's such great exposure when a high schooler doesn't know what they want to do yet. And that, it's just, if they look inside these industries and work within these companies, they can decide, and they have a choice as to what they want to pursue. And you're local. You went to high school and college in South Florida.
I did. I stayed local, and internships are phenomenal. To your point, I wish I could intern now, but unfortunately, I think I've passed that prime. Even though I do shadow, and I do recommend that. I stayed local. I went to Boca Raton Community High School, was my graduating high school, and then I stayed and I went to Florida Atlantic University, which has a phenomenal business program, and it's one of the few colleges that have advertising as part of the business curriculum. So if you're interested in advertising, then that's a great college for that. And I would meet people along the way who said they worked in marketing, or I would even meet people in college who then got marketing careers. I would speak to them, I would shadow them, I would ask them about it. And that opened up enough doors for me to say, hey, I want to intern, I want to work for you for free. And usually when you tell, it's that chicken or the egg scenario where people want you to work for them, but they want you to have had experience.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to have experience. And usually you have to give it away, if you will. And so I worked for free, never for too long. You want to make sure that you're specific in your goals. And so I never had an internship that lasted over 2 months. But it was enough time to let me know what I wanted to do. And then a couple of times when I was very interested in the internship, I would say, okay, my time has ended. What are our next steps? And make way for me to either have a space there or go elsewhere.
Wonderful. So what advice would you give if a student was thinking about a career in sales or advertising or tied to technology career pathway? What advice would you give to them if they're in high school now?
My advice would be to just take the first step. Not the first step, take any step. If it's something that you're interested in, research. If you're interested in a specific company, rather research that company. What is it that company is doing right now? Where are they moving? In the sense of the technology companies that I work with and that I work for, they start buying all these other little companies. Where are they moving? What are they buying? So start researching. Talk to people who work in those companies. There's a great network called the LinkedIn network, and it's very transparent with who knows someone who knows someone. And it's a great way to start making the connections and start making the communication that you need to just meet people. So, do the research first, start communicating. If you get the opportunity to open up one of these relationships, ask if you can speak to them, ask if you can shadow them, which is the most transparent way, especially nowadays. People are so open to meet for 30 minutes and share a screen and share what they're working on. It's something that a lot of people want to do, including myself, to help the next wave of people. And don't be afraid to make a step. No one step is going to be your final step. So I never call it make the first step. It's more make any step, take any action, and it will open doors. Or it might, in my case, when I did internships with things that I thought I wanted to do and didn't want to do, it closed doors and led me into the path that worked for me.
Wow, that's wonderful advice. Thank you so much. And I hope you will join us again, because I'm sure there's so much more advice you can give to our students. But I really appreciate, Maria, you being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Claire. Bye, everyone.